What if I told you the way it has always been done is not the best way? Facing your fears will change your life. The passion behind this journey is merging two separate worlds into one with the goal of creating value and awareness for a better life.
I'd rather be sidelined trying to achieve greatness than watch greatness achieved and it only set on the sideline. Now introducing your host, Jacob Emery.
This episode is brought to you by R&R Pipeline, an infrastructure company.
Welcome to another edition of the Iron and Infrastructure Podcast. I have a special guest on today, and it reminds me of an old concept that not all heroes wear capes. Today's guest is no stranger to the heat in his job or in his personal life, and no matter how hot the kitchen is, he'll walk in there and not even think twice about it. Kevin Mack, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So Kevin and me met probably about a year and a half ago. He is a 4 a.m. crew homie, train every morning, and he has faced some very big challenges in life that have become opportunities for growth, and I want to start right with that. So let's start with the Iron Foundation and what happened in the last year or so to Kevin.
I was lucky enough, my son's been coming to 4 a.m. for quite a while and talked me into coming in. And
shout out Colin.
Yeah, shout out to Colin for bringing me in. And I fell in love with it. It's a great group. We've talked about it before. It's more than just the iron. Mm-hmm. It's the atmosphere. It's the pushing you further. And I was just trucking through life. I was in my 25th year of my career. Things are going good. Family's good, better than it has been. We've all had our ups and downs, but was lifting and was trying to do the thing of, as a 48, almost 49-year-old man, trying to lift more weight than I ever have in my life because I got the bug. Mm-hmm. So I'm wanting to do that. And we did a blood test at work, this gallery test that's just picks up on different markers that show your chance of having cancer. Out of the blue with no signs or symptoms, in September 24th of last year, I was diagnosed with esophageal cancer and had no idea what that was going to mean, what was going to happen. Had only been around the 4 a.m. crew for almost a year, and the support was amazing. I remember the morning of telling you guys that, hey, I got cancer, and everything just stopped. Everybody was like, what do you need? You know, mm-hmm. You got this. Was all positive from the beginning, and progressed into a surgery. Had to have a pretty major surgery.
Really major surgery.
Really major surgery. The cool thing is we were deadlifting the day before. So 24 hours, literally, because I had to be at the hospital like 4 or 5 in the morning. 24 hours before I'm laying on the table, we're in here deadlifting. And my journey there before, I was trying to go heavy. So I was being stupid. Was having fun with it, but was trying to lift heavy, and it all changes now at the end of it. But I had what's called an esophagectomy, and I look like I've been in a shooting now. I've got 11 holes because I had 2 chest tubes. They collapsed my right lung, broke a rib, took out the bottom half of my esophagus, turned my stomach vertical, pulled it up into my chest, all robotically. Spent 7 days in a high state. In the first 6 days, no food or water, and decent amount of pain. I mean, it was a struggle. Mm-hmm. And came home to a liquid diet, and by that, it's literally a cup of broth 4 or 5 times a day, and maybe a pudding cup. And it was funny because I always felt, I was like, man, I have no energy. I get up to walk to the bathroom or something, and I was just spent. And looked at the side of one of the broths that I was drinking. At one point, it was 50 calories. So I think I was living on just a couple hundred calories a day.
A bunch of sodium.
Yeah, a bunch of sodium, a couple hundred calories a day. And slowly progressed to soft foods, and back at it. I no longer have like the flap to help you. So reflux is, going to be a lifetime issue. The great thing is we got the cancer. It is totally gone. I had the surgery November 26th, so Thanksgiving week. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're not going to be able to eat for a couple weeks or months or whatever, you might as well just kick it off right before Thanksgiving. And I went back to full duty at the firehouse on the 19th of February.
It didn't take very long.
It didn't take very long. And basically 3 months, so a lot of people were just blown away by how that happened. And there was a lot, obviously, that went into it. I think being somewhat healthy, I was probably a little overweight and stuff before, but
which probably ended up being a good thing.
Which ended up being a good thing with the weight loss and that we had. And I think the staying in the gym and not, in September when I found out I had this, I could have just shut it down and been like, well, I have cancer. Why go to the gym? Why work out? Stayed with it right up until then. And then as soon as I was able to, I was walking in the house, walking around the neighborhood. The hospital was great too. While I was in the hospital, they made you get up and you had to walk 3-4 times a day, like the day after surgery. Mm-hmm. We're toting around 2 IV poles, chest tubes, all kinds of stuff. But then came in here and started coming in with the 4 a.m. crew again, just to walk on the treadmill. Once I was able to drive and get in here, and just being in that atmosphere,
a little spark,
changed my mentality totally. Got me thinking I can do this. And not to say there weren't the bad times where you're thinking I'll never go back to my job again because of how physical it is. There were times where I'm like walking on the treadmill, looking at everybody lifting, pissed, wondering like, well, I'll never lift heavy again. And Corey especially, he's like, hey, I got these pump work. There's other workouts. Mm-hmm. He said life changes. And, we've talked about it before, and that just everything happens for a reason. There's still some kind of plan for me. A lot of people would have just given up and not gone back to work. I could have easily. I have 25 years and I could have retired, sought a disability, but I don't really possess any other job skills. I'm good at crawling down a hallway with my gear on in a smoky environment, and
you love it,
and I absolutely love it.
Yeah,
I just came off shift yesterday, and I love going to work, and I want to do my last 5 years on my terms.
Yeah,
and that's something that being here at the gym, I don't know if I'd have been able to pull that off, because the motivation I got from here, and even when I was having some really tough times of determining whether or not I was coming back, every day I came in here, I'm like, I can do this, and got a little better. And it's been a whirlwind of a year. Well, it hadn't even been a year yet through all of it, but what could have easily been a lay down and just die thing has been lucky. And I really have to credit the blood test that caught it, because with no signs or symptoms, when we got to the surgeon, they were blown away. Everybody's researching it. Coming up, I'm doing a testimonial and things for the blood test, but they were so used to seeing people later with esophageal cancer. There's only a 5% survival rate.
Oh, wow.
Of esophageal cancer when it's caught later. And to have it caught early, and they're from the get-go, they're like, dude, we can get this. We're going to get this. And I am, to be sitting here cancer-free now, got some parts rearranged to where they weren't originally put in life, but it's all something that's going to play out in the end.
That ultimate blessing could have been finding it early enough to get rid of it. Had you found out about it right now, maybe there would be no overcoming it.
Yeah, it could be a whole different story.
Right? So what seems to be the most detrimental thing in life sometimes is the absolute blessing that we need and we can't see yet. And I opened up in the Max Effort speaking event with the ironic tragedy of life. Everything that happens, we don't understand why it's happening, whether good or bad. Sometimes it's just getting through it, and then when you look back and are able to see what the reality was, it's what you needed. It's what you needed for whatever was going on, and you might not have all the dots there yet to connect, but once you do, you're going to come out grateful for the experience.
Yeah.
And you've had a lot of challenges in life. I have as well. I've survived every challenge I've ever had. There was nothing that I've not been able to overcome, because I'm still fucking here, and so are you. And so just having that, I've never lost a challenge because I'm still alive. So no matter what it is in life, if you're still living, you survived it. It might not be the ideal outcome, but you're still here. You're still living. The other side of that was the opposite. Had you not caught it, you might not be here. Had it not been caught in time, you wouldn't be able to come here and still show up and push forward and let your son see that. That's the stuff that matters. It's hard when these things happen in that lonely road because no one's in your head but you, and no one's feeling it but you. And no matter how much support you have, it's still on you to come through. No one else is going to willpower you to get through it. You have to do it yourself. But putting yourself in that environment dramatically increases the odds that you are able to overcome it.
And I can tell you out of this experience, it has definitely changed my perspective on life. We've been through challenges. There's all kinds of other things that I've been through that you still have that stubborn thing. Well, that happened to me, not for a reason. And this one, like, I wake up every day just happy to be here, happy to be alive. And not like a real sappy, sentimental, happy to be. It's just, I understand what I've been given now and kind of a gift to get through this in the fashion I did.
Yeah.
Because really, in all honesty, this should have been a year-long this should have been a far longer process. It wasn't easy. It was definitely painful, but it should have been longer.
And much worse.
And much worse than what I had to go through.
If not deadly.
Yeah.
It could have been so much worse, just from the fact of the time component.
Mm-hmm. And if they would have had to I got lucky. I didn't have to do chemo or radiation. It was just the massive surgery. But you throw those other things on top of there, yeah, and it would have been a whole different scenario.
These circumstances in life, they really do happen for us because no matter what, if it becomes a detriment to your life, the experience, if it's happening to you, your mindset will never be able to overcome it unless you realize that some blessing is there. I just can't see it yet. And whether it be fear or faith, it both requires us to believe in something we can't see. So you got to have faith that's going to be a good outcome and not be fearful of the bad outcome, because whichever one you're focused on is going to end up becoming true.
Absolutely.
What you focus on expands.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Focus on the bad, it's going to become worse. Focus on a good outcome, it's going to happen.
And I can tell you, whether it's in a hospital bed for anybody that's been stuck in one of those, or when you're stuck at home recovering, and for 24 hours a day, you're just sitting there. Mm-hmm. You've got to find a way to get those, because when those thoughts started rolling, they compound. And it's one after another. And you can think of and dream up the most messed up scenarios and things in your own head. And then you realize that 90% of that it's all you. It's not outside influences. Mm-hmm. People aren't thinking that. It's not what's actually happened. It's what's going on in your head.
We create the worst case scenario and then make that compound into being worse because we focus on it. Mm-hmm. And I always use the analogy of skiing down a hill. You're on top of the mountain, you're skiing down a hill, and there's one tree on that mountaintop, and that's it. And you're focused on that tree because you don't want to hit it. And you say, I don't want to hit the tree, gotta miss the tree, and then you dead nut the thing, and you smack it right into your forehead because that's what you're focused on. Yep. If you don't see a tree on the mountain, there's not a tree on that mountain, mm-hmm. and you'll avoid it. But if you focus on not hitting it, you're going to end up hitting it.
Yeah.
What you focus on expands, and even more to that, like if you don't have a target in life, if you don't have direction, any road will get you there. If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. I think being intentional about what you have to do in the time, nothing else matters. It's the priority. I got to get through it, and then I'll worry about the next thing. And some days in your situation, it's 1 minute. I got to survive one more fucking minute, one more hour. 1 minute is all the further I can look ahead because it's that bad.
Yeah. I need to get through today to get to tomorrow. And okay, I made it through tomorrow. What's next?
It's not the next week. It's the next hour of 24 hours.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And being able just to kind of sit back and scale that a little bit and embrace the part that sucks. I think one of the most powerful things that ever happened to me was understanding that reality, that life happens for us, but then the hardest times, the most pain, the most pressure, I embrace it and I just feel it all because I know them are the moments that make or break people, and that's where growth really comes from. Progress comes from pain normally. And right on the brink of a breakthrough is when it's the hardest. And the pressure's the worst. You want to give up. And if you think of an analogy of a highway, going down the highway, and the highway is success, staying on that highway. And every few minutes, there's going to be an exit ramp of failure. And getting off that exit ramp can be detrimental. Sometimes you might have to take a detour. The bridge might be out. There might be things that you detour around that highway, but you got to get back on the highway. Failure and success are on the same path. Failure is just taking the exit ramp.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when being at home in the recovery and obviously my family played a tremendous role in it. My wife, my twins, Kylie and Cullen, were huge. And we still laugh about it now that I pretty much raw dogged it at home. I only took 3 Oxy the whole time I was home after surgery. And there was one night that I was just absolutely miserable from sitting so much, just the pain of the surgery. You can't sit up, the domino, everything that's been cut on. And I still didn't want to take the pain medicine. And Cullen was standing in front of me, just motherfucking me, this and that, like, you will do it. And it was almost like the motivation had switched because it was something that he's been through multiple knee surgeries. He's got a tremendous story of things I might have yelled at him at some point in time. And here he is standing in front of his dad, holding the medicine, like, you will take this because it's going to get you through tonight. Or this, like you just said, it's going to get you through the next 5 minutes.
Yep.
You don't have to take it tomorrow. You don't have to take it every day, but tonight's this low point where you got to have it. And
there's no shame in that.
No, there was no, I was just being
stubborn prick.
Stubborn me.
Yeah. You're being a stubborn prick.
Yeah.
You know what shows me, though, a sign of being a good father is instead of criticizing him, cussing him out, you embraced what he was saying because you taught him that way. You raised him to become a man that was willing to stand up and tell you what you need to hear in the moment. That is like a clear sign of being a good parent. So kudos to you for that, because that's amazing that he has the understanding that you needed it. It's probably the last thing he wanted to do, probably the last thing you wanted to hear, but it was what was needed.
It was what was needed, and it was funny that, I mean, you've met his twin sister, Kylie. She was right behind him, doing the same thing, chiming in like, this is happening. There was no choice.
Yeah.
And to have the support of them, and we laugh about it now because it's one of those where you can look back as, hey, it was a funny, if we would have videoed it, people would be like, my God, they're just screaming at each other.
Videos, yeah.
It'd have been great.
Success. What does success look like to you?
To me, success is personal. For a long time, whether it was in sports in high school or in college playing, for me, success it wasn't numbers. It wasn't your batting average. It wasn't your fielding percentage. Sure, those were something. It was for approval. And I was one of those, I was a small kid. I was told I'd never play in college. I was one of those where if you told me I couldn't do it, fuck you, I'm going to do it. And I just went after it. And so for the first part of my life, that's what success was worrying about what others thought. And I even carried that for a long time into my career. Success was more based on what rank you have, what truck you're riding, and in our line of work, some of that matters. Some people care about that, but that's not it. It's really your reputation. Do you do a good job? One of the best things you can ever hear of a firefighter, no matter what rank they are, is he's a good firefighter. He does his job. This is one of the best compliments you can ever be given.
Yep.
And I got caught up in some of that stuff, and I've been lucky. I've been able to travel the country and teach and work with some people that I still get to work with that are some of the best in the business. And when I just started realizing how lucky I was, things changed. It wasn't about me. And it took a long time, and it took getting in trouble at work to realize what that was. It took going and getting my shit squared away someplace. And I'm still not perfect at it. I still make mistakes.
And nobody ever will be
I'm
perfect
still
at
going to
it.
get in trouble
Right.
at work, and I shouldn't even really say trouble. I'm going to get, not do something right at some point in time.
And you know why, Kevin? It's because you're trying.
Yeah.
Show me someone that hasn't failed at anything. It's someone that hasn't ever tried to do something different, and they never fail because they never try, which is the ultimate failure, is not trying.
To me now, success is getting back up.
Mm-hmm.
And for some people, it can be money, it can be status, it can be this and that. I mean, I look at the house I live in today. It's nothing over the top. Range. I never thought I'd live, in a nice ranch house with a little bit of land. I pull in and I'm like, I can't believe I'm here. And so I'm not taking things for granted, especially now after the cancer. But it's also, I really look at success as everyone gets knocked down. Do you get back up? Because for the longest time, things happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
Until I got my shit squared away, things happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
And now, I even catch myself like we'll make mistakes. I catch myself now if something happens, thinking that bad thought or that dude's thinking this, they're coming after me or this, that. And then you talk to the person the next day or something at work or wherever, and it's not even on their radar. It's all in your head.
We're not that damn important at the end of the day.
It's like they're not going to waste their time thinking about you.
That's what so many people get, the misconception of that. Well, what is this person going to think or that person going to think? No one really gives a shit about you.
No, they don't care.
Yeah, no one gives a damn. So what's the point in caring about their opinion?
Mm-hmm.
If I die tomorrow, the next day, if I let someone's opinion matter, and I give them that power, and my funeral's the following day and it rains out, they may not show up because of the inconvenience of the rain at my funeral.
Mm-hmm.
So why the fuck would I care about their opinion?
Exactly. I call it the outside noise.
Mm-hmm.
If I let the noise get in my head, and it's me, I can only get upset. Nobody can upset me.
Mm-hmm.
It's all me. If I let that noise get to me, which I've done hundreds of times, some of my best friends can even tell you that. They're like, we know when he's getting riled up, and we know his go button.
Yeah.
Your best friends always do, but it's when you let that noise get in there, it just totally gets at you. So just get knocked down, get back up.
Success to me is unlocking your own greatness. And that's what my coaching program I'm coming out with is all about. Unlocking greatness is empowering yourself to know we all have greatness inside of us. And we do.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's born for a specific reason. The only failure in life is never really tapping into that. People get this notion that I'm not worthy of this or I'm not worthy of that. And it's true. The only reason you're not worthy of it is because you haven't believed enough to pursue it. If you empower yourself, give yourself a little bit of hope in pursuing what your dream is, finding out what a dream looks like to you, and then taking that and pursuing it. Whether you achieve it or not, you try, and you have a dream for your life. Dreams are unique. They're like success to me. So my dream and your dream are going to be different. And that's the way it should be. No one will ever understand what my dream is for me because it's my dream. It's visual in my head only.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nobody else's. A dream is like a fingerprint. It's unique. It's individual. No two people, even your twins, as close as they are, they have different dreams for their life, and as it should be. And the only thing that I think is detrimental to people is letting their dream die for someone else's dream to be lived through them. You have to live your own dream, and everyone else's has to die. Whatever dream someone else has for you, regardless of intent, you can't let it be yours. You have to live out your own. And it's okay to do that. It's not a crime to want what you want. I call it the dream framework: direction, risk, empower, action, mountain. And I have a whole talking thing I do on it. I talk to the high schools about it. What's the direction that you're heading in life? And what direction should you be heading? What is the risk if you pursue your dream? What is the risk if you don't? Empower yourself to believe that you can. Empower the ones that believe in you, that you love. Empower them to go on this journey with you. It is all about action, though. You can have the direction. You can understand the risk. You can empower yourself. You can have all the woo-woo shit in the world, but you have to take action. And what's your mountaintop look like? Find what your mountaintop looks like. Climb up that mountain. Enjoy the whole entire process. Because like what you said about other people's opinions earlier, 12 years pursuit for R&R Pipeline. I tried to buy the company for 12 years. The accolade was the thing I was chasing. And once I got it, I had never been so empty and miserable in my life because I felt nothing of joy. For two reasons. One, I believed in myself so much. I had seen that day happen. I expected it to happen. And the second part, I was on top of the mountain. I had my view. I didn't enjoy the climb. I didn't enjoy the process to get there. I didn't enjoy the pain. I didn't enjoy the progress, the breakthroughs. I just focused on that accolade. So when I had that view, Kevin the mountain, it didn't look that good.
And I was in that same boat with pursuing different levels of promotion, different responsibilities. Like, hey, I want to be a part of everything, this and that. And now I'm probably the furthermost removed in my career from certain responsibilities. And yet it seems like more doors are opening to me because I'm relaxed. I'm still driven. I still am going after my dream. My dreams just changed a little bit. It doesn't have to be getting to that certain level, that position. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I still have that drive. I still want to be there. But now it's more about sharing and passing on and just enjoying the moments. And by doing that, those other things that I was so trying to press and force to happen have just happened on their own.
Yep.
And it's weird because a lot of people tell you that, they're like, stay driven, stay the course, do your thing. But when you're really pressing, a lot of those things don't happen.
Persistent patience, my life motto. Persistent in the pursuit. I'm a dog. I'm relentless, but I'm patient with the outcome because I know there's a point where I will have this path to get there and I will fuck all of it up if I am not patient with that outcome.
Yeah. You got the pedal down and you're like, I'm just going to push through this, and it doesn't work.
You know, sometimes in life we have to push through because it's just hard. And we got to push through it. We got to make it through, and it's just what it is. Sometimes, though, we have to pull back and we have to analyze the reality because when we set out to achieve certain things, 6 months ago, what I wanted to achieve and what I want to achieve now could be vastly different. We can grow a lot in this short amount of time or have a near-death experience and have this catastrophic, like, perceived thing that became this blessing. Your outlook on life is different now than it was
100%
in August of last year. And so sometimes you got to pull back. Sometimes, Kevin, you got to pivot. It's not that you are quitting. It's that you are heading in a different direction because of what your reality is now and your ability to process what it is. So push, pull, pivot. It's a framework I have. And it's hard to decide which one you need, though, because it's not normally a logical, basic decision. It's emotionally driven. Do you push through? Am I being soft? Do you push through it? Do you pull back, reanalyze, and do you pivot? Like, looking at it, it sounds very simple, but when you actually get in the depths of it, it's like, why did I want to do this thing? What was my perceived outcome? What is the person that I want to become to be able to achieve this? And is that still what I want? Or does it change a little bit? You were lifting heavy with your ego. You're doing all these things. It's a little bit different now. And it should be different.
We probably should just clarify. Lifting heavy wasn't like putting numbers on the wall for me. It was a personal lifting.
It was lifting heavy for you.
Yes, it was.
But you know what, though? That's what it's all about. It's not you versus anyone else. It's you versus you.
And it was, and I love the challenge. And now the challenge in the gym is more of a pump workout. You know, it's how many reps or different things can we do, and not going for the PRs every day. You know, those will be there at some point in time, I think, in the future. But even if they're not, there's that pivot. And then one of the big things coming up for me, even if I finish these 5 years that I want to finish, is for the last 25, and if I do 5 more to the 30 years, all I've known is going to work every third day and doing this job as a firefighter for my career. Now, what do I do? You know, does something come, and I'm still open to, it's where things have changed. does something pop up in the next 5 years that I'm out quicker than 5 years? It's when you mention that, and that's where I'm at right now. I'm still driven. I still absolutely love what I do, want to continue to do it, want to still teach some, and want to get out there and be part of it. But there's also that in the back of my head that's starting to sit there like, okay, when's enough? Mm-hmm. And it's scary when this is all I've known.
Yep.
And I joke about it. I probably do have some other job skills somewhere, but I mean, it's all I've known.
Mm-hmm. And it's just what you want. I love that you bring this up. I heard this statistic the other day talking about mountain climbers. You know, the mountain analogy, I use it quite a bit, but 80% of injuries with mountain climbers happen on the way down, not on the way up. 80%. They don't plan on them coming down.
Mm-hmm.
I know business owners, I know people that said, I will achieve this and I will be happy, I'll be sad. What happens after? You got to have some sort of next destination. There is never a final destination, at least to me, because I will always be pursuing the next destination. And the only time that I will not achieve that is when I'm buried.
Yeah.
And then I'll be dead and it won't matter anyways. That'll be my final one. But I'll always be in pursuit of something. No matter how big or how small, always having that pursuit and that next thing. But 80% of mountain climbers get injured on the way down. They prepare all the way up. Going up is a lot harder than going down. But they get hurt coming down because they weren't prepared for it. It's amazing, though, to think that. I would have never guessed it. When I heard it, I was shocked.
When you mentioned it, and I was stuck in that realm for a while, too, of you're so driven, you're so focused on something that's out there that may or may not even happen. And you made it to that level that you were going to, and you felt empty. You know, before I had my situation where I was riding out in a position that I thought I wanted. Mm-hmm. And now looking back at it, it took somebody else telling me, hey, you're being, lifted from this list for this action, whatever. And at first I was thinking it was the worst thing ever. And I look back at it now and I was like, I was miserable. I was not happy. And I think I'm a better fit where I'm at, mm-hmm. In the organization and everything, and just in life in general. But when I really get down to the nuts and bolts of it, I wasn't happy. And it was so focused and driven on something I thought I wanted. And it had outside influence. It had you're looking for that recognition. And
you're looking for something you probably never received when you're like younger.
Yeah, and that was one thing that I, in the way we were raised, there were some pretty harsh standards that we were pushed mm-hmm. to. And I think that translated into later on. I always wanted somebody to tell me nice job, or, oh, hey, you achieved this, something of that nature, or just back to the proving myself. I'd always put that in my head that you had to prove yourself. To who? I look at it now, I'm like, all that time, I'm like, who was I trying to impress?
It's not about proving yourself to anyone. It's about improving yourself and just getting better.
Yeah, improve, not prove.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really is.
Yeah.
We normally are seeking validation for something we never had in our youth. Normally, that's what ends up happening. And I remember going through a similar thing, and the first time that thing I always wanted, I got. And I was so distraught that it happened because I didn't respect the opinion. And it was like, holy shit, I just needed to be proud of myself. Mm-hmm. It's okay to be proud of you. If you're not, then who else is going to be? It's not about being egotistical. It's about being proud of who you are, about being confident in your ability because you've done it. You have proof of this thing. It's not ego. It's confidence. And by speaking it into existence and talking about it out loud, it's not for serving yourself. It's actually for serving other people. Because everyone has had a setback that can probably be relatable to someone else's. Every adversity in life, someone's been through it, and probably way worse than what we've ever been through. So why would you not learn from someone that was willing to be vulnerable and speak out about it and get through it? And then it'll help you expedite your journey too. I talk about an analogy of climbing up the side of this building, climbing up a ladder, and you get up to this ledge, but the ladder is like 3 feet short, so you can't get up to that ledge. And all of a sudden there's someone there willing to put a hand down to pull you up. And so you grab the hand, you get pulled up, but before you take off to that next ladder, you pull someone else up with you. So always having one hand up and one hand down. Always seek out someone that has been through what you've been through, because they want to serve other people. If they're willing to talk about it enough to, they want to help you. But always take someone with you and help them get through what they're going through. One hand up, one hand down. It's very simple in life, but simple is not always easy. And a lot of time we become very distracted in what we're surrounded by and not, focused in on what the priority is, and being intentional about where you put your attention is something that is very, very easy to get off track on.
Oh yeah. And I found by doing, which, right now trying to pass on as much as I can before I retire. And by no means do I know everything about the job or, about life or anything, but it's just sharing those experiences. If I can pass that on, that's the best feeling. And you watch so many other doors open up to you once people, and we say it a lot in the fire service and when I was coaching and stuff like that, of when people know you care, they'll listen. You've got to let them know you care, and having yourself squared away is the first part of that. Mm-hmm. You have to have yourself. And for a long time, I was pushing so hard. I wasn't. And I really look back at it now and I'm like, I was not, I could square myself away to go do a certain task. I was very task oriented. You could give me an assignment. We're going to go do it. We're going to knock it out and we're going to kill it. But then the things that come with it, I was so focused on the other parts. I was letting those go. And I did care, and a lot of times, but people wouldn't realize that. Like anybody else, my wife would probably be the best one to tell you that. There were a lot of ups and downs, and most of it probably came off of, what was going on in my life or how I was treating that certain scenario. Because if you think something's wrong at work, you're going to bring it home. Even though everybody says leave it at the door.
Easier said than done, for sure.
Easier said than done. Well, and for us, we try to say that at the firehouse. It's like, hey, if you got stuff going on, try to leave it at the door. They've always said that. It's like, wait a minute. And now I'm living with my other family for 24 hours to fire. You can't just leave that shit at the door. Mm-hmm. And, she would be one to tell you for the longest time that, man, I let everything get to me. Everything. And just compound issues and just run with them. And now, from the issues that I've dealt with through work, through squaring myself away, to the illness that we've beat, everything's changed. There's just a whole different demeanor about, we all know it's going to end. I love my job. I had a great night last night at work. We caught a fire, which for us is a good night, which obviously for somebody is not. But I love doing that, but I also realize that if this morning walking out of the firehouse is the last time I get to do that, I've been okay. I've lived a fulfilled life. What's next? And I never had that attitude before. And now I'm okay, what's next? Whether it's what's next shift at work, hey, there's another new guy we need to train up, or we need to do this, or the new guy's teaching me something. That was something that just when I was pressing so hard to go up that ladder, you don't think about what's next.
You don't. And the other part is executing 10 out of 10 on a 1 out of 10 task isn't that relevant.
Nobody cares.
You can do really great at something that's not important, right?
Right.
And, looking at it from my perspective, all this that just happened for you, probably for this exact reason. Because if you would have never changed and you would have lost that thing, you would have tied your identity to this job, to this career, to this thing that you thought was your brand, Kevin the firefighter, but it's really Kevin, the person. And it's really not the other part that made you who you are. It's the person internally that you've grown to be by improving yourself. and by the byproduct of improving yourself was just, you really proved yourself.
And I even had one of the younger guys at work said this when they weren't sure if I was coming back or not. And then I came back. He's like, I love having you back. It's good. But we've had a side conversation, and everybody does. And he's like, we just wondered what you'd be able to do because you've dedicated so much of your life to the fire service. Mm-hmm. And you just hit it on the head right there. Before that would have devastated me. I wouldn't, and it'd still be a big part of me that's gone. But I now realize that that's not the definition. Nobody cares what truck you ride in the fire service, whether it's an engine, a ladder, medic, rescue, whatever you're riding. Nobody cares. They care Kevin. They don't care about your rank. What's he like as a person? And it took a long time for that to really hit home.
Yep.
Because I thought it was what truck you're assigned to. Is this guy a badass? You want somebody to say that. Yeah. Nobody cares.
No.
Now on the fire ground, they know you can do your job. That goes back to hey, he's a good fireman.
Right.
And that can be anybody at any rank. They just want somebody that can do the job.
Right.
But afterwards, in that other 23 hours around the firehouse, they want a good person.
Nobody's going to remember how you put the fire out. They're going to remember how you treated them.
Yeah. And that took me a long time to get squared away.
External growth is something that everybody sees. It's obvious, right? You get physically fit, you lose a bunch of weight, you gain a bunch of muscle. Everybody sees it. Internal growth is unique. Whenever I dedicated myself to developing me as a person, working on the interior, not the exterior, mm-hmm. The exterior was in play. It continued to get better. Everyone's seen it. But the inside work that I did was the reason I was able to buy Arner Pipeline. The reason that I was able to become a shareholder, Max Effort, CrossFit Uprising, start a podcast. It had nothing to do with the outside. Them things were done with the outside foundation that created the inside. And success is formed based off habits. You want to achieve something, you're not going to achieve something by having this big goal in place, this big thing out there, because you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. That comes from James Clear and Atomic Habits. Your habits determine your success. Your success is not anything more than a byproduct of the habits that you accumulate. And personal development for me, when starting, was just listening to some books. And I'm still a sponge to everything that I learn. Doesn't mean I believe everything. It means that I take everything in, I digest it, and I put it somewhere that I think it's useful. It might be the parking lot for a year. It might be right now. It might be the thing I need to break through. But just digesting it, being willing to be vulnerable enough to say I'm wrong. I am a failure more times in a day than I'm proud to admit. But it happens probably once an hour. I absolutely make the wrong call, wrong decision, say the wrong thing. My failure list is 100x, if not more, my accomplishment list.
I think if we all looked at that and took a true look at that, no matter who you are, that stat's gonna be there.
Anyone that has achieved what they wanted in life has achieved it because of the failures. Huh? The failures to me are more important than the success. If you can't acknowledge all the failures, you can't acknowledge the learning lesson. Bad judgment comes from experience. Experience creates good judgment. You don't ever accomplish anything great or the life that you want without failing along the way.
When I look back at it, whether it's a training evolution to where you've not made it out, something's happened, to just looking back at life, the things I've screwed up, I've either scrutinized more and learned more from than anything I ever got right the first time. Because if it comes easy, we don't think about it. But if it's something you got to do over and over and over again, you think about it. And then it'll become second nature to not do that again or to learn a new habit. But when I look back and the things that I have learned the most from, it's either been a mistake or something that I screwed up. And it's tough to look at that. Yeah. It really is, to take a good look at yourself and say, hey man, I fucked this up.
You don't become successful by winning all the time from ground zero and up. Yeah. Success comes from learning and overcoming adversity. Michael Jordan, Tom Brady. Look at some of the great athletes of my lifetime, your lifetime. Do they talk about all the wins? Michael Jordan talked about getting cut from the high school basketball team. Tom Brady was the slow, overweight, unathletic, not muscular kid that was last draft pick of the draft. The championships are a byproduct of that determination to overcome that, thing that happened. And the reality is, it's not something to shy away from. It's something to embrace. If you allow the thing that hinders you to hinder you forever, and you blame that thing, you blame that upbringing that you had, that environment, whatever it is, you blame it, you're giving it all the power.
Yeah.
So by default, the thing that you actually hate because of what happened to you, you give it all the power and acknowledgement of your life. Power follows the blame finger.
And I found out with that, you have to learn from it, but then you have to learn to let it go. And that's hard because there'll be something come up that reminds you of it that'll trigger that feeling.
1,000%.
And then you've got to feel inside and be like, look, man, I can't let this happen. I can't go back into this happened to me, now it's happened to somebody else, whatever. I mean,
nobody makes us feel anything that we created the feeling ourselves. If someone does something that you don't like and it triggers you, it's your fault. It's nobody else's. Yeah. That's hard to understand, though.
Very hard to understand that you think things are happening to you and causing you to feel this way. The only thing you feel is that. A lot of the books, and I'm a big reader. I still actually like books that you can turn the page. And I read the Daily Stoic. There's one of those that I love that. And there's so many things in there where it gets down to that. It says you control everything emotionally. Things can happen to you physically. Something can happen to you, like happened to me. All that can happen to you. Your reaction to it is everything.
It's not final. It's not fatal. It's on you to figure out how you feel about it. I love Ryan Holiday, the Daily Stoic. The obstacle is the way.
Oh, great book.
One of the best ones yet. And the obstacle that holds you back, the story that you tell yourself, the parent that never treated you right, the cousin that did this, the situation that, whatever it is, it's not anyone else's fault but your own. There's bad situations that happen to good people. And if you allow that to be the thing that sets you back, even if you could justify it and it would be justifiable, are you really going to allow the thing that you despise and hate to be the reason that you never get what you want? You're fueling the thing that is your fire, and you're not putting that fire out. And regardless of what it is, there's always an option to do something different or to overcome that. And you cannot create a better future for yourself until you create a better past. How you tell your story about the past determines how your future outlook is. Because if your past is always horrible, your future probably won't be much better.
Well, the big thing I found too with how I dealt with it is own your past. You can forget it. You can have different things that you're going through, but it happened.
It's yours.
And if somebody comes up and they're like, "Oh yeah, I remember when you were doing this, or this happened," especially in the fire service because we live together, we know each other. Guys never forget anything.
Yep.
They'll bring it up, and the best, I used to let it get to me, and I'd get fired up about it, or I'd deny it, or something. Like, own it. Be like, yeah, dude, that happened. Here's what I learned from it.
Yep.
And that's hard. It's very hard to do, but most of the time, and when I read Obstacles Away and everything, I kept just thinking, I'm the obstacle. It's like they're saying this over in the book. They're going over all kinds of other things, and I just keep looking at it, and I'm like, it's me. I'm the obstacle.
It's the mirror. Life is a mirror, not a window.
I got to look at that mirror, and I've got to take care of me and make sure that that's squared away.
If you're looking out the window, you're never going to get it. You're never going to figure it out. You're always going to be looking for external validation or giving an external excuse. It's all in us, dude. And that's where I think the greatness part comes from. Everybody has their own individual success or greatness. So few people unlock it, though. And it is like the most detrimental thing in life that it's right on the other side of your dream is right on the other side of committing to it and pursuing it. people spend so much money on their house, on their cars, fixing up their four-wheelers, doing all this dumb shit that doesn't matter. It's a material thing that can be replaced at any given time, and they won't invest in themselves. The best investment to get what you want out of life is investing in you as a person. If you work on yourself more or harder outside of your job than you do at your job, you'll become more successful at your job tenfold.
And that's the physical part with it too. Back to the iron and being in the gym. Whether you get up at 4 a.m. or whenever you figure out your workout, you'll feel better. And I saw that with 4 a.m. It just clicked for me. The days that I'm in here in the morning, I'm more mentally prepared for the day.
1,000%.
And even a few years back, I started going and getting a massage once a month. By just taking the extra money that I would have probably spent on something stupid and taking care of myself, I feel better.
Shout out Tina.
Yeah, shout out to Tina for taking care of us. But it's truly, when you do that and you're in that realm of working out, and we see it with injuries, you see it probably in your workforce and things too. And I know you guys have talked about it in other podcasts about the people that take care of themselves aren't hurt as much or sick as much as somebody who doesn't.
Yep. I'm sick right now. Like you can hear it in my voice. I would probably be technically sick for what a normal person would be laying in bed about dead.
Right.
This is my sick.
Yeah. And,
I feel fine.
And you can work through things. I've tripped over things, done things at work that probably would have, if I wouldn't have been working out as much as I'm doing and staying in shape, which could always go to another level. I got away with something. You're like, okay, I'm sore today, but I'm not broken. I'm not off work. And anymore doctors and stuff they'll write you for whatever you want. If you don't want to go to work, they'll write it for you. And it's like, I had to, with mine, I'm like, hey, I'm going back. I need you to sign this paper that says I'm going back to work because I'm not sitting around anymore. I'm done. And you got to have that mindset, and working out puts you in that.
Just making it a lifestyle of non-negotiables. It's a habit. And you feel like you're weak when you go to the gym, but you're actually becoming stronger. So when you're trying to learn something new, you actually feel dumb. It's actually making you smarter. And when you're facing your fears, you feel scared, but you're actually becoming more empowered. Whenever you're doing the thing that should make you feel a negative way, it actually makes you a positive, outcome.
Yeah.
Working out makes you feel weak. Weak as shit all the time.
Well, look at how many failures we have in the gym.
Yeah.
I mean, there's times where you'll miss a weight, or you won't get to the reps you're trying to get, or you just won't get through the workout.
Yeah.
But you got through 90% of it.
Yep.
There's all those failures.
Do the thing you don't want to do, and you'll become the person that you set out to be. The failure isn't missing that lift. It's never stepping up to the plate in the first time.
Yeah.
It's never getting in that position to miss it. I think about being better tomorrow than you were today. Just incremental. But then also giving it 100%. Well, I'm 51% today. Today I'm probably like 10%, but I gave 100% of that 10%. You're going to have days where you're not going to feel like doing it. You're going to have days where you maybe shouldn't do it physically. It might be better for you not to do it. But mentally, if you skip it once, it could be a mistake. If you do it twice, that's a form of a new habit. And that's when you start to have that setback. Doing something twice, 3 times, it's forming a new habit, and you become a byproduct of that. Knowing that ships don't sink because of the water that's around them. They sink because of what's inside, the holes inside of them. Don't let what's happening around you be the reason that you sink your ship. You got to make it strong. You got to make it sturdy. And you cannot let others come in and poke holes in your ship. You have to be selfish, though, to do that. Because I cannot be my best version if I'm not. It's not, if you help me, I'll help you. I'll help me for you if you help you for me. you got to take care of yourself first, because then you have a better version of yourself to give away. I want to talk about decision making real quick. You obviously have decisions that are probably very difficult to make in a split second. I call it the decision door decider. There's two types of decisions in life that I've seen a lot of. One of them is like a revolving door. You make a choice, you make it quick. Whatever the outcome is, you have a desired outcome, and you want this thing, but if you don't get it, you can overcome whatever it was. Where that door revolves back around and you kind of hit that starting point again if it doesn't go the way you want it to. Some decisions, though, are one-way doors. Once that door shuts, you're never going back, and you're all in, and it's an all or nothing type of deal. You've probably seen it more than most with split-second decisions when in pursuit of putting out a fire. You got to analyze the data, understand the risk, and have an outcome that you want to see. A lot of time, the one-way door decisions are more long-term thought out, but in your line of work, you don't have much time to think about these things. You got to go do it. Thinking of it from that frame, how hard is it to make them one-way door decisions for you in a split second?
It's become easier. They're never easy, so to speak, but the training and reps, that is one thing where being driven, the love of the job, being lucky to be around the people in the fire service I've been around that have shared all their knowledge at these different places, and putting yourself in those environments. When I'll go out and I'll work at a place in Indianapolis called FDTN, every scenario there is under live fire, and it's intense live fire. And it's great because it puts you in those scenarios. Even as an instructor or safety sitting in there, you see it over and over again.
You got to feel the heat.
It's like doing the reps in the gym. You're becoming muscle memory. You're giving yourself every opportunity to make the right decision. A lot of times with these one-way doors and the decisions on a fire ground, if you do make a wrong decision or you make a decision and conditions change, you have to adapt. That decision's over. You can't think about it. You're now to the next door. And it has to be quick decisions. We do a lot of a critique in that afterwards. We try to learn from everything. And there's something every run you could do better.
Always.
Just like anything else in life, there's always something you could do better. But it is, and it's also, I think what helps too is it's putting the faith in those around you. Because unlike, police officers a lot of times work by themselves. So their one-way door decisions are very rapid, but they're about you and you're kind of on your own. Everywhere I go, I have a crew. And you get to know your crew's strengths and what their best suits are, and you're going to lean on them. And that really helps when you know your crew inside and out. That really helps with making that quick decision. Because I know I'm not just solely relying on myself. I know, hey, this guy right here, he's my go-to guy to forcible entry that door. He's doing that. We're pulling the line behind him. Everything's going to fall into place. By having that crew with you is huge. And it comes back to, once again, it's training and reps. Every day we work, we do some sort of training. And you stay with that, and that builds trust and everything that comes with doing something over and over. And in those trainings, don't get me wrong, we screw things up. You'll do one and you'll be like, oh, this would have been bad. And so you reload, you do it again. And that's how you look at those. And I guess after a while, it becomes second nature. You talk to people that aren't in the fire service and they're like, I don't know how you make these decisions this quick, but it's what we do. If I came out with you and I've seen, multiple crews out working and stuff, we've been on plenty of runs. We've talked about it before, but I don't know how to, mark and run the underground and how to do all that. But it's second nature for your guys because it's what they do every day. And it comes down to those reps, and with that plays into how do you take care of yourself? Because we've all done it before in our career. You know, you've gone out late the night before. You might not be 100%. You see it with guys in the fire service that have new kids.
Yeah.
You see the first time dad coming into the firehouse, you can tell, because it's just
See
like the
them
first
away.
time dad coming into any other job, or mom coming into any other job, that they're just dragging ass. So that's going to affect it.
Yeah.
You know, by taking care of yourself, you can work through that. And also by relying on that crew. You truly have to rely with the people that are there and believe in them. It's not just another thing that you have to learn over the years. It's not just about you,
Right.
especially in our job.
Build the people build the team, ultimately. And draft horse by itself can pull weight 1,000 pounds. I talked about this at the event. So you would think just by basic logic that 2 would pull 16,000, but they can pull up to 32. And the repetition creates your reputation. Who you are to your team is based on the reps you put in to become that person, whether good or bad. Repetition, it's one of my core values for my coaching program. And it's persistent patience, ownership, win or learn, evolve, repetition. And it spells power. And repetition creates your reputation. What you do in the dark will show in the light. What you do when no one else is watching will show when everyone's watching. What you do as an individual becomes the significant part of who you are to that team. And without repetition, you don't become great or good at anything.
When we mentioned it earlier about you can do a task 10 out of 10, but if I, with the rest of my crew, can't show them that I care, that they're with me, we're doing it together, or I need them to be able to do it, if they don't understand that, or you're not a good person to begin with, they can care less that you did that as a 10 out of 10.
Yep.
They want the person with it. And that has to evolve into all the trainings and the reps. That's one of the big things I think with those one-way door decisions, and that is even keel. No matter what's going on.
It's
and
good.
There's times you'll hear a guy's voice on the radio and you can tell there's something out of the ordinary, but they're still not screaming. They might be amped up just a little bit, but you're like, okay. And then there's the others that are legends in the fire service that they can have people hanging out of like 8 windows of a house and they're talking like you and I are talking right now.
Yep.
They're just marking on scene. They're like, hey, working fire. We got people hanging out windows, and they go to work.
Yep.
Each one works. It's just if the crew knows how you're going to react, because they know if they see you fired up on something that's, you know, pretty bad,
Shit's getting real.
shit's getting real.
You know, you teach a lot. You serve others with teaching, mentorship. And I've had a big, maybe misconception about the ability to showcase development to other people and train other people. I call it TNT, teach, not tell. If you told me I got a plane outside, I'm going to give you a process, go fly it to California tomorrow. Okay. It's not going to happen. Doesn't matter if I have a process in front of me, someone telling me to do it. I have to be taught how. It takes time. You have to teach your team with what you know, not tell them what to do. You got to lead them by showing them, teaching them, being hands-on, being intentional about it.
We do a lot. It's called show one, do one, teach one.
Yep.
So I'll show you. And by that, you're also, if you don't realize, you're gaining, because I'm showing you that I can still physically do it.
Yep.
My role might be a supervision role or something like that, but I can still put the gear on and do the task I'm asking you to do.
Yeah.
Then, okay, hey, do one. And we just talk about it. It's not testing. It's not anything else. We want you to, and then they're going to teach it back and treat me like I'm the new student, and you teach it to me. And by doing, that's building, that's fostering that trust, but it's also showing them, hey, I'm not going to, the biggest thing in our job is I'm not going to ask you to do something I'm not willing to do myself. And
the best way to get like really good at something like that too isn't by just doing it, it's by teaching someone else how to do it.
oh yeah,
Because the perception of what it is to you is going to be different for someone else. And then when you see it, you get feedback. So, oh shit, that is a better way.
Yeah, I found that when I was in college, ended up working for our coach teaching hitting lessons. And it was a good job in college to make some money. And at first didn't think anything of it, but I found myself becoming a better hitter when I could break down a swing. And whose I ended up breaking down the most was my own. And it was like, once you could figure that out, and then it helped you share it on down the road, in later years of coaching and doing things. But it's, once you could figure that out, that teaching part, it's reps. You're still getting reps. If you look at it, like you said, teaching, not telling. And for a long time, it was military-esque in the fire service. It was screaming and yelling. I was part of it just like everybody else because that's what you were told to do.
Yep.
And then once again, things started opening up in drastic means, just quick things are happening. This and that. When you just went to, hey, this is the skill. This is how we do it. Go do it. And guys would do it. And then they come out. The place we teach, it's all critique. Here's the task. We'll show you what. Now go do it. They come out. It's like, hey, what happened? Critique yourself.
And it's often what's caught, not what's taught. We catch things in life that we should have been taught, but we weren't. Yep. We caught it and we learned from it. Being taught how to do things the right way is rare. Being taught how to do a good thing for a good reason. You normally catch someone doing a bad thing for a wrong reason and you learn from it. But that's where growth comes from. You open for a little rapid fire. I can't think of a better way to close the show out. Are you feeling spicy already?
Let's get spicy.
All right. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Let's make them quick hitters. Rapid fire round with the fireman himself, Kevin Mack, K-Mack. What's a quote or mantra that you live by?
Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
One book that really impacted your life?
Here lately, I would say The Daily Stoic.
Best advice that you have ever received?
Don't seek others' opinions. It's not about what they think of you. Was one of the best ones I think I've ever got. Was stop caring about what others think. And there was like 3 different ways to say it there, but stop caring about what others think.
I love it. I love it. You've been on fire this whole show. It's been a fire episode, Kevin. Pun intended. So for that, it's your time to put the fire out and give me your final thoughts of today and just everything in general.
I think for me, it's just I've come to a point in my life where all these events in my past, it's kind of a culmination of all of them now that I really enjoy every day. I'm really grateful for what I have in life. I know there's still so much more. There's something left out there for me that I don't know, that none of us do what the plan is. But I'm enjoying every day. I'm doing the best I can. I'm so blessed. I love what I do. I have a great family. I've been able to do things in life that I never thought I'd be able to do. I have a great job, great department, great crew. Just for so long, I didn't enjoy that. I was still pressing. Mm-hmm. And for those that are out there that you're pressing and you need to see it, be patient. Like we talked about earlier, let it happen. Still be driven, go after it, be aggressive, but don't lose sight of life and everything going on. And a big thing too is I've been blessed. I have 2 great kids. I didn't always do things right. You could have them in here someday and they'd dime me out just like any kid does their parent. I never did everything right. Same with my marriage, but I'm lucky they're all still here. And don't sacrifice your family or life in general for a career. And I know there's people that I work with that are going to live this and they're like, holy shit, did that dude just say that? Because I've pushed and there's times where I put the career and everything first. Mm-hmm. And that's just something I've had to come to terms with and live with. And, it made me better as maybe a firefighter, but I missed some things and did some things that I probably should have been at or doing. And I can't go back and change that, but I can learn from it. And if that's something I can pass on to any young firefighter, just to anybody in any profession, don't let the job crush you.
Because it will.
It will. And especially once you let it start running with things, it will crush you. And respect your family, love your family, provide for them, but you can't get time back. And that's one thing I know over the years, that if there's anything I shortchanged my family at times, it was time.
That's it. That's good.
That's it, man.
That's good. From rescue runs to cancer recovery, from putting out fires to fighting the fight of your life. And you came out better than all could have imagined.
We're here.
We're here and better for it. Kevin, thank you for your time today. It's been absolutely amazing. Shout out to all the firefighters out there. We appreciate you. Thank you for all the hard work and dedication. K-Mack, been a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, man. Iron and Infrastructure Podcast, and we're out.